This is a production budget. So in this scenario, what we're doing here is figuring out how many units you need to produce to meet the expected sales levels and to also have some inventory left as a bit of a cushion in case sales are a bit higher than you're projecting, so you don't want to run out of anything. So the way you set this up is by quarter. And so you're basically switching around the information from the way it's presented in the problem, because you need to go quarter by quarter and then add up your total for the year. So your sales units, the number of units, that's taken right from the number of jars sold. That's in the problem. Here, your desired ending inventory is going to be equal to, you're told, 25% of the following month's sales. So when you look at the 45,000, where you're coming up with that from is you're taking your 180,000 for the next month. You're expecting to sell 180,000 units, and you want to make sure that you have your ending inventory equal to 25% of that. So times 25% is equal to 45,000 units. And the reason for that is you want to make sure you have enough inventory to get started on the next quarter. You don't want to be there waiting for your inventory to come in and have your staff idle and not doing anything. So for each of these, what you're doing here is, so the 52 is 25% of the 219, and the 40 is 25% of the 160, and so on. And for the 55, where that's coming from is you're told that the next quarter sales is expected to be 220,000. So it's 220 times your 25%. So that's where you're getting your quarter numbers. So now what you have to remember here is when you're looking at your annual totals, you're looking at your sales, so that's going to be cumulative. So the total sales for the year is each of the 4 quarters added up, so that will come out to 700,000. However, your ending inventory for the year, it's not cumulative. You're not adding up all the way across here, because the end of the year is the end of the 4th quarter. So that will be the same as this number here. So end of year is equal to end of quarter. So now we're saying the total inventory we need is what we anticipate selling plus what we need to have on hand at the end of the period. It's going to equal, in this case for the first quarter, 195,000. But we don't really need to have 95,000 on hand right now, because you already started off the beginning of the year with your opening inventory. So you didn't start off with 0. You started off, in this case, your beginning inventory would have been 37,500, and where that came from is your 150,000. So what you would have started off with in the last quarter of the previous year, you would have predicted sales of 150,000, and then you would have had to keep 25% of that on hand. So that's where the 37,500 is coming from. So you're going to need 195 for the quarter, 195,000 units, but you don't have to produce that many because you started off with 37,500 in your beginning inventory. So the number of units produced that you need to produce is 157,500 to meet the demand. So your ending inventory for the quarter is going to be your beginning inventory for the next quarter. So when you look at this, that's where the 45 is coming from here. Similarly, your 52,000 is from here, and 40 moves to here. So again, you'll recall for your beginning and your ending inventory, this is not cumulative. So the total inventory needed is cumulative for the year. You're adding your 4 quarters, but your inventory at the beginning of the year is the same as the beginning of quarter 1. So that's something you have to remember. Do not add these across. So your inventory is not cumulative. So up here, your inventory at the end of the year is equal to the end of the quarter. Inventory at the beginning of the year is equal to the beginning of the first quarter. So that concludes 9-21.